So you've probably heard these acronyms tossed around all the time: IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. But what do they actually mean when it comes to building and using software? Well, today we're going to cut right through the jargon. We'll show you exactly what they are, how they're different, and most importantly, the trade-offs you're making when you pick one over the other. All right, to really wrap our heads around this, let's put you right in the driver's seat. Imagine you're a startup founder. You've got this amazing idea for an app, and you're ready to make it happen. But hold on. Before you write a single line of code, you have to figure out where this app is actually going to live. So what's really involved in that?
Before we even touch the cloud, let's look at the old-school way of doing things. This is what's called the on-premises model. Think of this as our starting point, where you build, own, and manage every single piece of your technology yourself, probably in a server room down the hall.
It all starts at the very bottom layer, the actual physical hardware. This means you have to go out and buy servers for your code to run on, networking gear like routers and switches to connect to the internet, and huge storage arrays to hold all your data. This is the heavy lifting, both literally and figuratively.
Okay, so you've got all the hardware racked up and blinking. You're not done yet, not even close. On top of that physical layer, you have to build your platform. This means installing virtualization software to get the most out of your servers, deploying operating systems like Windows or Linux, and then adding middleware, which is basically the software glue that connects everything, and runtimes, which are the specific environments your code needs to execute.
And finally, after all that foundational work is done, you can bring out the star of the show, your application and all the data that goes with it. This is the part your users actually see and interact with. As you can probably tell, that is a ton of different layers to manage all by yourself.
So this whole model, where you do everything from the ground up, that's on-premises. The big upside here is you have total ownership and control over your data and security. But the downside? Well, you're responsible for every single piece of it, from a hard drive failing at 3 a.m. to a critical security patch that needs to be installed right now.
But what if you're thinking, there is no way I want the headache or the giant upfront cost of managing my own data center? This brings us to our very first cloud service model, Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS.
With IaaS, you're essentially just renting the hardware. The cloud provider, think folks like Microsoft Azure or Amazon Web Services, they handle the physical networking, the storage, the servers, and the virtualization for you. Then, you're responsible for everything on top of that. You install the operating system, the middleware, and of course, your own application and data. So, why would you go this route? Well, IaaS is fantastic for moving existing applications into the cloud without having to rebuild them, a strategy often called lift and shift. It's also super cost-effective for things like setting up temporary test environments or for handling backup and disaster recovery, because you only pay for what you actually use. Now that's a big step up. But what if you want to offload even more of the management so you can just focus purely on writing code for your amazing app? That's exactly where Platform as a Service, or PaaS, comes into the picture.
With PaaS, the cloud provider's to-do list gets a lot longer. They don't just manage the hardware, they also take care of the operating systems, they handle all the security patches, and they maintain the middleware and runtimes for you. All that complex underlying stuff is now their problem.
So what does that mean for you? It means your world gets a lot simpler. Your focus narrows down to just two things: your application and your data. The entire platform you need to build and run your app is just there, provided as a service. This frees up your team to innovate and build cool features instead of managing servers.
Honestly, this model is a developer's dream. It's really the heart of modern, cloud-native app development. It's the go-to choice for building slick web apps, tapping into powerful AI and machine learning services, or spinning up business analytics tools without having to build everything from scratch.
Okay, so we've outsourced the hardware with IaaS, and we've outsourced the platform with PaaS. But what if you don't want to build an app at all? What if you just want to use a piece of software that solves your problem right now? Well, that brings us to our final model, Software as a Service.
In the SaaS model, the division of labor is incredibly simple. The cloud provider manages everything, and I mean everything. The entire stack, from the physical servers sitting in a data center all the way up to the application software itself, is completely their responsibility.
Your role? It's about as straightforward as it gets. You just use the application. You can think of it just like subscribing to a service like Netflix. You don't worry about where they store the movies or how the website is coded. You just log in and hit play. It is the ultimate level of convenience.
And you know what? You are almost certainly using SaaS applications every single day. Things like Microsoft Outlook for your email, collaboration tools like Skype, or OneDrive for storing your files. Yep, those are all classic examples of software as a service.
So, we've walked through this whole spectrum, right? We've gone from managing everything yourself, to managing some of it, to managing pretty much nothing at all. With these three very different cloud models laid out, how on earth do you choose the right one for your project?
It really all comes down to a fundamental trade-off. As you move from left to right here, from IaaS to PaaS to SaaS, the cloud provider takes on more and more of the management burden. Your direct, hands-on control goes down, but your convenience and the speed you can get things done goes way, way up.
And really, that's the choice you have to make. Do you need that deep, granular control that Iaas gives you, where you can configure your own virtual machines and operating systems just how you like? Or do you value the maximum convenience of SaaS, where a finished, ready-to-go application is just delivered to you? And of course, PaaS sits right in that powerful sweet spot in the middle for developers.
So let's circle all the way back to our startup. Now that you understand the options, that constant balancing act between control and convenience, which model would you choose for your brilliant new app? And here's something else to think about. As technology just keeps getting faster, are the lines between these models going to start blurring even more? That's a question for another day.